Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 19th of August. Aren't you a little tired of COVID 19? Aren't you a little tired of mixed messages? Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. When will the vaccine be available, if it will be available? Do we go back to school or we don't go back to school? Drive you nuts. Or maybe I'm just speaking for me. It seems that this has been going on for a while. Well, no seeming to it. It has been going on for a while. And I was talking to someone the other day as we're making plans and looking forward to the next few months at St. Stephen's, in that when I became the part-time interim rector to get you through the search process, one of the things we discussed is how far into the spring would this go. I think I started in October. And so, and I said, it makes sense once we begin Lent to stay on in this position through Easter. It makes sense liturgically, spiritually, and any number of other ways. Easter came and went. You may not remember it because we didn't have any services. We were shut down. How much longer will this go on? I don't know. But now, this afternoon, I'll be talking with some staff, and we're going to think about what's it going to look like this fall. Planning for blessing of the animals on the day near St. Francis Day. What's Advent going to look like? What about Christmas? We're looking down the road. Now, the search committee is making progress on that, and you'll hear more about that very soon, but we have to make plans. It just seems like that we've been wrestling with this for a long time. Well, in the church, things seem to take a long time. And that's not because we're slow. It's because I think God marks time differently than we do, if God marks time at all. This Sunday, one of the readings from the Old Testament, depending on whether you're using track 1 or track 2, but one of them is from the book of Exodus. And it says, "Now a new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph." And thus begins the Moses saga. It's been some 400 years, I think, since Joseph's brothers and his family migrated to Egypt. They were given a place of honor. But that's changed. 400 years later, we find the Hebrew people oppressed and enslaved by the rulers of Egypt. And the cry comes out to Moses through God, "O Lord, how long will my people suffer?" Next, we find the Hebrew people in the wilderness for 40 years. And the people keep asking Moses, "How much longer? Are we there yet?" And so there is this expanded time. I'll bet when the Hebrew people left Egypt, they did not think they would be in the wilderness for 40 years. Later on, another episode, the Jewish people are taken into captivity by the Babylonians, the Babylonian captivity, 70 years. And I'm sure there were people who thought, Lord, how long will this go on? And at the end of 70 years, when the Persians sent the Hebrew people home, or said he could go home, the reality is most didn't. They created new lives. We live in a period of time that Jesus calls the coming of the kingdom. Jesus proclaimed the coming of God's kingdom. And we're waiting for that. We're waiting for whatever that's going to look like. How is Jesus going to return? Will there be Armageddon, or will there be something else? When will it happen? There have been times when people have pored over books like Revelation and Daniel trying to find clues to this. And we don't really find any. We just know that Jesus says it's going to happen. And we keep saying, Lord, when will this take place? And I think God tells us that we need to be patient. And it will all happen in His good time. I'd like to try to approach the COVID pandemic in this same way. I would like to approach it by thinking, okay, God will handle this in His own time and in His own good way. But Lord, how long will it take? How long before we return to something approaching, I don't know if it was normal, but what we used to have? Lord, when can we go to Walmart and not wear a face mask? When can we shake hands or hug again at the exchange of the peace? When can we be in larger groups and not be afraid of contracting COVID-19? I think these are things we all wish for and we want. These are things we want, and we want them now. That God works in His own speed, in His own way, in His own time. And we don't have much control over that. Now we can pray that, God will shorten the time. We can pray that a cure will be discovered soon. We can pray that there really will be a vaccine come first of the year. We can pray that fewer people will be contracting this disease for one reason or another. We can pray for all those things, and we should. But I think we also need to learn some patience. We are a people traveling in the wilderness. We kind of know where we're going, but we don't exactly know the route, and God doesn't really give us a time frame. So in the end, I think what we are left with is this wonderful gift we call faith. Faith that God is in control, and faith that God will lead us to the promised land. We don't know how long it'll take. Whether we feel like we're the Hebrew people in slavery in Egypt waiting for a deliverer, whether we are the Hebrew people wandering the desert anxious to get our destination, whether we are the Jewish people in captivity longing to return home, or whether we are Latter-day Christians waiting for Jesus to return and bring about the kingdom of heaven. It's a matter of faith, I think. It's a matter of believing it will happen. We don't know when. It's a matter of believing it will happen, but we don't necessarily know how. It's a matter of believing that God's in control. Now, that doesn't always ease my anxiety. That doesn't always bring me a great deal of patience. Because sometimes my prayer might be, God, give me patience, and I want it right now. But let's be patient. Let's be faithful. Let us go back to the basics. Let us indulge ourselves in prayer. Let us spend a few moments from time to time reading the Bible. Let us in all times greet one another with dignity and respect. Let us show kindness to each other. Let us be generous of heart and spirit, because I think these are signs of the coming of the kingdom. But for now, we must be patient. We must be faithful. We must simply believe that God knows what he's doing, and someday he'll let us know as well. So, we'll make plans for blessing of the animals. We'll make plans for Advent. We'll make plans for Christmas. We'll make plans, I think, for some sort of Sunday school program for the fall. They may not be the kind of plans we originally wanted, but they will be something. And we will try to muddle through as best we can until God brings an end to this pandemic, and we can greet each other together once more, face to face, arm in arm, hand in hand, walking together into the kingdom. So my prayer for you today is that your faith will grow stronger, strong enough to share with others, strong enough to reach out to others, strong enough to say, I'm not exactly sure where we're going or when we'll get there, but we can walk this path together.